How much will you do for love? How far will you go for love? Mio is ready to become a cat to get closer to the love of her life. Will she win his love? Mio, a middle school student, lives with her father. Her mother left her father in grade school, and her father has just married a new wife, and she is to live with her stepmother. One night, her mother tries to explain why her decision is paramount. Mio doesn't understand, so she leaves her mother ranting about how much she hates the world as she walks home. She walks along a walkway where she sees a lot of cat masks. She meets a mysterious mask seller who offers to allow her to try a cat mask. The next day, Mia is at school. She meets with her best friend Yuri on her way to school. By the school gate, she sees her school crush Hinode, and she has a habit of doing something she calls Hinode Sunrise Attack. She huddled at him, shouting, "Hinode Sunrise Attack!" She had always flirted with Hinode. After school, Yuri advises her that she is already looking like a stalker, and she should leave Hinode alone since Hinode has always rejected her advances, but she refuses to stop. On her way home from school, she meets one of the older adults who wants to know if her stepmother Kaoru is maltreating her. She tells the woman she is doing fine with her stepmother. She enters their home, greets Kaoru, and tries to play with Kaoru's cat, Kanako. Kaoru tries to get closer to her using different skills like offering her ice cream. But Mio doesn't want the friendly act. Getting back home from school, she takes the mask and wears it to become a cat to get closer to Hinode as a cat. She changes to a cat named Taro and goes to Hinode's home. At Hinode's home, his mother Sachiko wants him to further his education so he can support their family since their father is late. But Hinode refuses to further. As Hinode gets home, he looks for the stray cat he met earlier, Taro. After Hinode listens to his mother's nagging words, he shouts for Taro. Taro jumps at him and he takes her to his grandfather's pottery shop. At night, Taro leaves Hinode and changes to a human on a rooftop. Her cat mask mistakenly falls. As she struggles to pick it up, the mask falls on her face and she becomes a cat back. On Taro's way, she meets the mask seller, who asks her to give him her human face and live forever as a cat since he thinks she is enjoying her cat life. She runs away from the man, refusing to drop her human face. Later, she and the seller sit down, thinking of how she could introduce herself to Hinode as Mio and hopes he won't hate Taro when he knows Taro is the same schoolgirl he hates Mio. Mio goes back home for dinner. Her father and stepmother try to get closer to her, but she is not interested. The next day at school, she tries to jump at Hinode, shouting, "Hinode Sunrise Attack!" But he leaves her to fall. At lunch break, she overhears two of their classmates talking about Hinode. They say he is getting too proud and mighty. Although she hears them gossiping about her too, she decides to jump down the fence to defend Hinode. She falls but stands up to defend him. Hinode calls her and warns her to stop being reckless. He takes her to the nurse. She had poured her food away while she jumped, so he offers her his meal during the meal. He comments that Mio has the same scent as Taro. Following the encounter at school, Mio gets home very excited. Karo asks her if something special has happened, but she replies otherwise. She enters her room, takes her mask, and changes into a cat to visit Hinode. As she gets into their compound, she overhears Sachiko telling Hinode their pottery studio should be closed due to a lack of funds. Hinode is sad because that is the only thing he is passionate about. His mother tells him to study for his entrance exam because he is the family's only hope. Hinode goes into his room sad and gloomy. Taro watches him from the window and she is very sad too. Taro changes back into a human and goes back home for dinner. Despite how lovely the meal is, she couldn't enjoy the meal. As Mio enters her room, she sneaks out like a cat and visits Hinode at the studio. As he sees her, he carries her in his hand and rants. He says he wishes to tell his mother what he feels. He says he wishes he is like Mio because Mio can say anything she feels like saying without considering anyone's feelings. At Mio's home, her stepmother Kaoru enters her room and can't find her. She reports to her dad. Mio returns home and overhears her parents talking about her absence. She goes to them and lies that she was on the rooftop. That night, she decides to write a letter to Hinode to make him feel better. She composes the letter all night and can't get sufficient sleep. At school the next day, Hinode enters the class and Mio brings the letter to him. One of their troublesome classmates, Banai, takes the letter from Mio and reads it to the whole class. Banai asks her if she isn't embarrassed, but she says she couldn't be embarrassed by expressing her feelings. Hinode angrily goes to Banai and collects the letter from him. In an apologetic manner, Mio tries to tell Hinode she wrote the letter to make him feel better. And they are just the same, as she also can't express herself well. Hinode's response angrily tells her they aren't the same and they could never be. He says he hates pushy people and she embarrasses him. He tells her that he really hates her and squeezes her letter away. Mio walks out of the class and her best friend Yuri walks after her, crying. Yuri asks her to forget Hinode or she will stop being friends with him. Back home, she stays in her room crying. Kaoru knocks and asks if she can enter. Miyu cleans her face, pretends as if she is exercising, and asks Kaoru to enter. Trying to get close, Kaoru asks Mio if she is making her uncomfortable. She says she notices she forms her smiles and pleads with her to laugh naturally when they are together. Miyu gets angry, calls all the adults selfish, and says she doesn't care about them. She takes her mask, jumps out of the house, and changes into a cat. On Mio's way, she changes back into a human, cries her eyes out, then changes back into a cat before visiting Hinode, who is also thinking about how he reacted to Mio. Hinode tells Taro the cat that he loves her, and she spends the night there with Hinode. As she had always called him Hinode Sunrise, she is glad she could watch the sunrise with him. She wakes and realizes it is past school time. She remembers she is a cat and doesn't need to go to school. The mask seller appears to her again. He asks her if she is ready to give up her identity as a human, and she tells him she is done with being human. Immediately after she says it, her human face falls off. The mask seller picks it up, says he could not turn into a human anyway, and tells her he would sell the mask to a cat who wants to be human. Mio's father and stepmother visit the school that day, telling Yori and Hinode that Mio is missing. Yori and Hinode decide to find her. Before their search, Yori tells Hinode she and Mio had been friends since grade school, and after Mio's mother left her, she became an outcast in school, and Yori was her only friend. On Mio's father's way home, her mother calls to visit the family. Mio goes home as a cat to wish his family goodbye, but she sees her mother and stepmother fighting. On her way home, she sees Yori in the rain looking for her. Yori tells their teacher Hinode had gone to search the train station for her, and she is shocked Hinode is looming for her. She goes back to Hinode's place. As Hinode returns, he asks his grandfather to cover his absence from his mother as he is about to set out again to find Mio. Taro stays on his arm and they go out to find Mio. While they sit, Hinode tells Taro he likes Mio, but he can't express it as she does. Taro realizes she no longer understands human conversations as she turned into a cat. She regrets her decision to change. Mio resumes back to school. At least everyone thinks she is Mio. However, she is Kanako, Kaoru's cat, who has bought Mio's face from the mask seller. Kanako behaves weirder, and it is obvious she isn't Mio. For about 3 days, she forgets to do the Hinode Sunrise attack that Mio does for Hinode. Other times, she forgets to walk home with Yuri. One day, Kanako is walking home with Yuri, Hinode, and Isimo. She tells Hinode she wants to come by his house that night and spend the night with him, a statement that is something Mio will not say. As the friends depart, Mio walks down with Kanako and asks her to please return her face, as she could no longer understand humans. Kanako tells her she wouldn't return the face. She says she bought the face to make Kaoru happy. She had spent all her life with Kaoru, and she had tried to make her happy, but a cat's lifespan is too low, so she needs an extended life to make Kaoru happy. Mio asks how she could find the mask seller. Kanako tells her she will see a path. And if she can't see the path, it means she is almost full, and by the cat festival, she will change completely. Kanako tells her that when a human face is taken like hers, the buyer and the mask seller share the lifespan of the human. Miyu sees the path, walks through it, and sees the mask seller who refuses to return her face. She sees invincible stares and follows the mask seller into the secret island of cats, hoping to turn back into a human. At home, Kanako gets a call from Yori asking them to attend the festival with Hinode. She opts out of the plan, saying she would attend it with Kaoru. Getting to Kaoru, she realizes Kaoru is disturbed looking for her dear cat, and she notices she could never replace the love Kaoru has for Kanako. While taking the appearance of Miyu, she tries to give up the appearance. Kanako visits Hinode and asks him if he loves her. Hinode says Mio would never say such. Kanako changes into a cat holding Mio's face and tells Hinode all that had happened. She tells him he is the only one who could save Mio and make her human back. She asks him to follow her to the secret island of cats. On the island, Mio looks all over for the mask seller but can't find him. She finds herself amid some people who were humans and had changed into cats. Kanako takes Hinode to the island. He is also changing into a cat already, as his hands have already changed. They meet the mask seller. Kanako says she is ready to return the mask, but the seller says he wouldn't leave Mio's lifespan he has collected. In the next scene, Mio is talking with the cats who were once humans, and they advise her not to run from her responsibility and face her fears. The mask seller appears and tells her he had held Kanako captive. He tells her Hinode came to find her and he will take his lifespan too. The other cats hit the mask seller, telling him Mio is still a kid and he should return her face. Mio runs to the store where Hinode is. Kanako changes back into a cat and gives Mio her face, but Mio can't change back. The mask seller comes by, he takes Mio away, and Hinode and the others follow him. He takes Hinode and Mio to the promised place. He plans to take their lifespan once the tree has come alive. When the tree comes alive, he takes Mio's lifespan, but Hinode fights him for it. Mio realizes she had been selfish all this while. The other cats arrive to help them. They hold the mask seller down and allow Hinode to regain Mio's lifespan. Hinode gives her the lifespan as Kanako rides them back to land. In the boat, Hinode tells her all the school students were sad when she was gone, and her parents were sad too. She realizes that she is the selfish one who shut the door against everyone who loved her. Hinode confesses his love to her. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel to get notified when we post the next recap.